Welcome back here on the Senior Network. We're discussing a lot of things to do with hospice and advocacy and things like that, and it made me think about, Charlie, I bet you deal a lot with fear, don't you?
Absolutely. People, when they step into hospice, obviously there's an end-of-life issue.
Sure.
And when they begin to look at that, they start asking themselves some really hard questions. Some of the questions they can ask themselves, and of course this is where my role is important, is they start to wonder about the nature of the God that they may have constructed in their own hearts, the God that they believe in.
Sure.
What's that mean, and is that God truly there? And some of the things that I try and do is offer them the space again for the questions. And often when the questions can be asked and the fear can be expressed, is that they begin to look at it in a way that sort of taps that fear down. It's an odd paradox. When you can validate the emotion then doesn't take over as much as it had before. Very often people in their own journey, especially dealing with their fear, sometimes with their anger,
Sure.
is being able to build that non-judgmental space gives them the opportunity to express that emotion, look at it as it really is in their own heart and in their own mind, and it starts to take away some of the power that those negative emotions may have had in their lives. And that's part of the privilege that I get to do, is watch that process.
I can see the passion.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. When Bob, speaking of fear and things like that, we're going back to talking about families when it gets into a critical situation, be it health or whatever it may be, financial, whatever. You mentioned you guys, you have nurses that come in and actually have that clinical background that can talk to a family and understands their options, correct?
Yeah. And we try to help out with that as much as possible, and even attend physicians' appointments, because there's tons of great physicians around, and you can have the best physician in the world, but the issue is, are the physician's orders going to be followed when
The compliance.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So, and when you're in a physician's office, if you're alone, or even if you're with your spouse or loved one, the physician's giving you information, and sometimes it's not good information, and your mind's starting to race about all kind of issues that are going to affect you moving forward. And the same thing with your loved one who might be with you. If you have one of our nurses there, they sort of are a little bit removed from that, although they certainly have an attachment to you, but they're a little bit removed, and they can sort of put that in a clinical sense and carry that back, make sure those orders that the physician's giving you are carried through. And that fear, not only in the physician's office, but the fear of organization at home, the fear of not knowing whether you need this document or don't need that document, what you should do financially, who should you call for that. Sometimes that can be paralyzing for somebody because you're afraid to make the wrong move, so you don't make any move. And then that begins to snowball. So a lot of times, on the non-nursing side, on more of our support side and personal needs coordination side, we can sort of clear some of that clutter and allow people to get back to enjoying each other as they move forward.
Does that go back to earlier? I think you mentioned it's concierge life care management?
Yeah, we term it concierge life care management because there are a lot of care managers out there that manage somebody through a disease, and sometimes that's provided by an insurance company or somebody else. We're more of a concierge in that we're going to provide holistically for your life care needs. So from, is your home safe, to are you going in and out of your home, is that safe to begin with? Are you living in a safe social environment, or there's something going on there that we need to address financially? That's a big thing that I focus on because it's a topic a lot of families don't talk to their loved ones about, whether for privacy or embarrassment or something like that. But that can make a big difference in your caregiving options as you move forward. So we try to address that as well as try to address those medical needs. So we're looking at, really, like I said earlier, we're looking at all those different aspects and trying to bring it all together that you feel more comfortable and you can live, achieve the wellness goals you want to achieve based on your physical and health limitations and your financial means.
Wow, that's a lot to take over. Now, as far as your staff, it's mainly yourself and nurses, and then everyone else you've kind of vetted out as third parties, right?
Well, yeah, we basically have myself, who helps to oversee everything. We have RNs, who are our nurses, and we term them as nurse advocates. And then we also have another position, a personal needs coordinator, which do a lot of the non-nursing duties.
Sure.
So somebody needs a ramp put in their home, who's going to follow up to make sure that was
Right.
done properly? Sometimes we need a source to do those, or somebody to make a lot of calls. We serve as a guardian for some people in this county and other counties appointed by the courts here. So our personal needs coordinators sometimes will handle that paperwork, that following up from our
Right.
nurses, checking in on them. So there's really 3 positions. Then everything else, we give options for our
Sure.
clients of vetted sources. So we're sort of that middle consultant that can point people in those directions.
Well, and that means a lot, because I know anytime we all want to go and try to find a service, a lot of times we have no idea who to reach out to.
Yeah.
You know, there's 12 options in front of us and we have no idea. So having
right.
someone that's gone through and vetted that, especially in healthcare, because
Mhm.
that's critical sometimes. Now, as far as your services, is it a fee, an hourly fee? How does that work?
Typically, it's an hourly fee, although we can do a fixed cost if we need to. And our hours are broken into segments, 1/10 of an hour segments. So there's some clients where we do a couple hours of work per month, and there's some we don't do anything for once we have something set up, and there's some that it's a more intense situation, especially if they have a medical urgency or
Oh, sure.
concern. So it really varies.
Yeah, because I know from we've worked with you many
Mhm.
times in home care that, you know, as you've gotten in there and worked with the family on a weekly basis
Mhm.
when we're there maybe around the clock with
Yeah.
someone, there's no family around. We've
Yeah,
had
yeah.
those situations.
Yeah.
And it helps us as a third party company, or another company working with you, that we're able to have a liaison, that person that's working
Right.
with the family and us, and making sure we're doing our job too.
Yeah,
Exactly
yeah,
in there.
middleman.
Well, hold that thought. We're going to take a
Okay.
break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.